I'm drinking some water. Excuse me.
Gotcha.
All right, you're good to go, man.
I'm ready.
All right, what's going on, NMO fans, Fighting Game League fans? This is your host, Alexlexus, and we're shifting into interview mode. And the reason for this, Nelson's not a guest, but, today he's in the guest seat with a former rival, a valued friend, Michael Hurdel, formerly of RawGamePlay, now currently with Salty Gamers. And I want to give the panel this time to do their introduction. So, Mike, you got the floor.
Hello, how's everybody out there? I'm glad to be on the show. It's an honor. And see, we don't got beef. We don't got no beef. It's all friendly. All right? We just be doing out there like WWE. I'm Michael Hurdel from SaltyGamers.com. What you got in your crib? If you guys know me about that, I'll be making up crap like that. Oh, can I curse on this show?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
This is not for kids. Hey, it's 11 o'clock, so kids shouldn't be even up watching this.
Oh, okay, because I was about to go into white people mode, but now I can go into hood mode if I wanted to and switch back and forth. Now, so SaltyGamers.com, and, I do a show like that every now and then. It's because it's not weekly or whatever, but I'm on Facebook as well, too, so I'm still into video games, and of course, I'm extremely handsome. Thank you.
Oh, my God. Mike, you're still a character. All right, Nelson, just for the sake of the other audience, just do your intro. I know we're beating a dead horse because we've been working together for all these months, but, give us the spiel, man.
All right, basically, you already know me as Nelson Rios, a.k.a. Mugen. Of course, you really know me from the past. I was Bushimuso Renge with the old and the best RGP crew around, of course, with Michael Hurdel. Now I own my own company, which is Fighting Game League. And, of course, I am partnered up with Alexlexus and the NMO crew.
That's right, tag team style. And, we're basically linking up just to, help one another and networking, exposure. So, if we don't come together, we're going to fall apart as individuals. So, without further ado, we're going to start this interview. Now, the purpose of this interview is a follow-up to a video that the crew, Sean Hill, Michael Hurdel, and Nelson Rios put together. And I just kind of wanted to take all that energy and just kind of start pointing it because, even on the NMO side of things, because RawGamePlay was a very instrumental part in NMO's growth because we kind of started airing around the same time. We were meeting up at the East Spot coincidentally, covering tournaments and things of that nature. And, they kept us on our toes and it was always mutual respect. And when I saw that there was a decline or, an untimely end to that broadcast, that made me even start asking questions. I did see that show, and I just wanted to ask some questions of you guys, if you didn't mind. So I prepared a series of questions, and I just wanted to elaborate as much as we can. We have unlimited time on YouTube, so, we don't mind you getting long-winded with it. But, Nelson, the way we're going to do it, I'm going to ask Mike the questions first, and then you just do a follow-up.
All right.
But, Mike, I just wanted to know, initially, what was the inspiration for RawGamePlay in its inception? What was, I can give you my story after you tell me yours, but when did, the gears go on your head that say, hey, you know what? Let's start doing vlogging on YouTube.
That's a good question. You know what? A couple people asked me that a long time ago. I'm sorry, my throat is a little dry. On Cablevision, once upon a time, there was a show called Raw Play, where they just played video games all day long, no commercials. It was just someone playing games like Conan or any game, and they would just sit there and play the whole game, and you'll see it on the screen. It was called Raw Play. It was in HD, and I used to sit there and just watch people play games from beginning to end. Sometimes it takes 6 hours, 7 hours, but they'll just play. And it was interesting. It was interesting to me. But then one day I turned the television on and Raw Play was gone. And I was like, what happened to Raw Play? And then I called a lot of people. I went to the website. The website was gone. They stopped it. It wasn't kicking off. So then I said to myself, man, I wish I could do something like that and just play games all day. And I thought about a couple things, and I called it Raw Gameplay instead of Raw Play. And then, of course, my friend Corey, who I've known for many, many moons, me and him goof off all the time about playing video games. So we decided to just host it. First, we started just playing games and recording it on a VCR, on a DVD recorder. That was horrible quality, but we put it up on the web and we were just playing. Of course, YouTube shut that down. They don't want any gameplay, but we still put it up on our website. We host for $6 a month with GoDaddy or whatever the price was back then. And then one day, me and Corey just said I had gotten into film and video, and then I basically said I had a nice camera. I knew how to edit in Final Cut Pro, and I was learning how to be a director behind the scenes. But then, I got the microphones to interview people so I could make some money too on the side with my income tax check. So then Corey and I were goofing off on just talking to each other, and somebody said, "You guys should be on camera, man. You guys are funny." And of course, it clicked in my head. I said, "I'm going to do that." And me and Corey got on camera. It was if you look at the very first episode on Raw Gameplay's channel, youtube.com/RawGameplay, not the LLC, and look at the first video when I had the white shirt on and Corey was just out there, and I said, "Welcome back to the first edition." I'm like, "Wait, how are you going to come back to the first edition?" But we were just amateurs at the time, and we just started winging it, and the way we connected on camera, people loved it, and we just kept going and going and going with it. And then before you know it, it became funny on YouTube. People started loving us, subscribing, sending us all types of messages, and we got all gassed up. And we just started going and going and going until it got to the point where it got so big that we became like the underground sensation, where the only thing we like Raw is our video gameplay. I just made that up for no damn reason. I got it from, I think, Old Dirty Bastard or something like that, one of those rap songs, where the only thing I like Raw is my music or some shit like that. And I just stole that. I'm just,
and that was very catchy because, hell, even as, I wouldn't say we were competitors, but it was more like healthy competition. Like, I would, watch your show after we do our editing on Sundays, and I would say to myself, you know what, these guys are onto something. And at some point, I knew that maybe we're somehow, I wouldn't say cross paths, but meet each other, and that happened, at East Coast Throwdown, at the freaking East Spot on numerous occasions, at Comic-Con 2010, you know what I mean? So it was just something, I was honored. I was like, man, you know what? I saw you guys. I'm like, damn, that's Raw Gameplay. You know what I mean? And even some with our audience, they respected you guys, and it's just like, they would say, hey, you might want to try something like this and try something like that. You know what I mean? Like, you guys influenced us in a lot of ways, even though we started around the same time. So I like I said, it was hard for me to see when I came back from Iraq, like everything was just like all discombobulated, but. Which leads me to the next question, which I know now Nelson might be able to jump in there. What was the driving force? What was the chemistry that, made the magic behind the scenes and on camera for Raw Gameplay? Because I know Nelson was an intricate part, you know what I mean? Because he pretty much saved nMo. Because I was about to cut it off, and he was just like, hey, you know what, use Wirecast, that kind of stuff. So I know he's a part of the chemistry that fueled the locomotive of Raw Gameplay. But
that's right.
Give me your interpretation. Like, what made you guys have that spark, that magic?
Nelson?
Oh, it's me on the floor. Okay.
You fell asleep.
Well, I didn't know it was addressed to me. I thought it was addressed
You're asking
to
Nelson
Mike.
that question, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, are you addressing it to me or Nelson? I just want to make sure.
No, Nelson can go
sorry,
first, and then Mike, you can jump in there.
Nelson.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Basically,
see, this is live, people.
Yeah, basically, I was watching the show just like how Alexlexus was, but at the time, I was just a normal tournament player. And I'm just sitting there, looking through YouTube, and I see a show, and it says Raw Gameplay. So I was like, all right, let me check this out. I'm always, want to invest my time into, like, underground stuff anyways. So I started watching this show. I was like, these guys are definitely really onto something. They're doing stuff not scripted. They don't sit behind a prompter. They're doing it based off of just sheer memory and what they actually feel, and they give their personal and honest opinion. So from there, I just kept watching the shows on a regular. Then they had a tournament, I think TSG, which is also the company I'm a part of now. They held monthly tournaments during the time. It was the beginning of like January or February or something of the year. And I went to the tournament just to play Super Street Fighter 4 at the time. And next thing you know, I saw Corey Ashley sitting there holding the camera looking like he was lost. So I was like, wait a minute. This guy looks familiar. But I didn't want to say nothing. So I'm walking around and I see Mike. I was like, oh, hell no, this can't be true. I caught them outside in front of the door and I was like, you guys RawGamePlay? It was like, yeah. And then that was the very first time me, Mike, and Corey met up. And that's when they both signed my arcade stick for the very first time. Because they was like celebrities to me. So I was like, hey, I can't pass this up, you know?
Mike, you were signing arcade sticks? For real? That's awesome, dude.
No, you know no lie. Nelson made me, I ain't gonna front, Nelson made me feel like some type of rock star. I was like, yo, this dude is asking me to sign his arcade stick. Like, that's like asking a dude to sign my girl's titties. You know, like that's how I felt. Like, wow. Because you don't, when you ask somebody to sign your arcade stick in the gaming world, that's equivalent to having them sign your girl's titties. That's how much of a, because you just don't want to have any dude's signature on your joint. Am I right, Nelson? Or what?
Yeah, you're right. You know
what I mean? So I felt like a rock star because he only had top players and all the famous people in the gaming world sign his arcade stick, and then he added me to the equation. So I was like, man, this RawGamePlay is going somewhere big because people who I've never met are walking up to me, talking to me. And Nelson is like, he just gravitated to the right place because Nelson is the conduit that made a lot of things happen. Nelson is like, if we built a robot and like Voltron, Nelson would be the brain because he know
He'll
where
be
to
the
go.
Black Lion.
Yeah, he's the one who has the whole body. That's what Nelson is, because that's why you got to give Nelson his props, because he does his research, he digs hard, he's dedicated to what he does, and you could call that motherfucker at 3:00 in the morning and his ass will get up and help your ass. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I have
and
to say about that.
Adding to that, there were times where NMO we used to do on a weekly schedule, but then when I started working with Nelson, and at first I just said, he's so generous, he's hooking us up and everything. Then Nelson started making me work harder than we were working before. He's like, hey, Alex, are we going to do this? Alex, are we going to do that? I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm not going to let Nelson down. He already offered the help. So it got me trucking a little harder, you know what I mean? And thus, updating like how NMO does reviews, like that Double Dragon review, I'm very proud of, because it actually looks like something like, I wouldn't say IGN quality, but damn close. And Nelson is to thank for that. And
no doubt.
Well, and I want to say that, he was an intricate part, but I know what I'm giving you props, Mike. Your personality, your on-camera personality made a lot of people gravitate. And hell, it caught my attention starting the Street Fighter beef. I'm like, this guy, cocky as hell. Hold on, he's blowing up his people or whatever. You know what I mean? And your personality, Nelson's work ethic combined did something great. You know what I mean? And you guys, for your run, like I said, it was disheartening to come back from deployment to see that things had changed so much, Yeah, and even on the NMO side of things, we're just like, hey, it's friendly competition, but you don't want your competitors to go away like that, because then what keeps you hungry? What keeps you trying to be a step ahead of the next guy? You know what I'm saying? So it's just, which would lead me into the next question. If you can go back in time and undo some of the negative and remove or purge some of the negative entities within the RawGamePlay company, would you go back in time, and who would you get rid of? And I already know of the one individual, but like along in the journey that made RawGamePlay what it is, who would you not have associated with on the outside? So, Mike, this goes to you first.
All right. Well, here's the funny thing about this. I'm going to answer this question in a way that you probably would not have seen coming.
Okay.
If I had to go back and remove someone, I would remove absolutely no one. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I'll remove no one. Sean Griffith has served his purpose. Every member of Raw Gameplay, the ones who were there for the full run, the ones who were part-time there, the ones who only did one episode, they were there for their run. And I think everybody's life is changed because of that moment. You have Sean Griffith that came in when me and Corey was kind of breaking, separating, not going our ways because Corey was trying to get his stuff together because he was unemployed. Let's keep it real. He was unemployed and he was really struggling. He sometimes didn't have no bread in his pocket. Real talk. And Corey wouldn't mind me putting it out like that because he wants people to know that people struggle. That's how Corey is. So he had to go work, and he was working, so he got tired. He'd come home, he'd fall asleep. He didn't come for the episodes. He was tired. I said, you know what? I'm not doing this no more. Sean Griffith came in now because we're all mutual friends. We all kind of grew up together since the King of Fighters in the arcade days, you know? And then Sean Griffith comes in and says, yo, I can save the company. Just let me be a part of it. And I was like, it can't be the same without Corey. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know those two dudes from collegehumor.com, the two white dudes? Like, you can replace one of them together. It's going to be funny, but it may not be as funny as the two original guys. You know what I mean? So I said, no, I'm not doing it. So, you know, I took his word. He brought somebody in. He brought Big Sean in for the first time. Big Sean having no camera experience at all. He, you know, he still got up there because he wanted to help, you know, because he was, you know, he was willing. He was, yo, Mike, if you need me, I'm there. That's Big Sean, no doubt. When he's dedicated, he's dedicated. I got to give him props. I'm not just going to sit out here and curse him out. I will talk about Big Sean, about what he's done, because I'm going to put something on blast, but that's later on if you want me to talk about that. So,
yeah, I have a section for that, Mike.
Huh?
Yeah, I have a section for that. You know, cool. It's called NMO Blast Spot, but that's going to be later on in the broadcast. But go ahead. All right,
no problem. So Big Sean came into the equation. So if you go to the YouTube, and everything I'm saying will match everything perfectly. If you look at the episodes later on, well, the earlier episodes on youtube.com/RawGameplay's website, I hate to pimp it, but it's still my stuff anyway. And you'll see, you saw Corey disappeared, and Big Sean came in. Then you saw Little Sean. We used to call him Big and Little Sean. And they both was, you know, doing the reviews, and people was kind of cutting Sean up, and he was taking it personally because they were saying he don't know how to speak properly. And I was stressed because Corey wasn't there no more, and it wasn't going right. So then we said we needed new people. Met Nelson. Nelson came into the equation. Met, of course, because of Sean, because of Sean Griffith, I've met Sean Hill. You know, so I can't say I want to take Sean Griffith away, because if I take Sean Griffith away, that means I can potentially take Sean Hill away. And I hate to mention this, I really do, but we're putting this on blast, and everybody knows what happened. I would have to say RoseMaiden. I have to be honest. Sean Griffith is the one who brought her into Raw Gameplay too, because I was too busy and not caring about interviews, and he interviewed her and he brought her here. She played her role. She did what she had to do. Things happened, and everybody got discombobulated. Everybody started thinking. Everybody started becoming aware. It's like somebody just put something in here and caused this Raw Gameplay to turn crazy, which manifests. It destroyed Raw Gameplay, because as you can see, Sean Griffith, the website is horrible. It's gone, actually, and the YouTube channel is a year in with no material, but yet you're still keeping my URL, michaelhurdle.com. If you go there, it's still under Raw Gameplay because I brought both of them, but he took it and changed the names, and he's trying to extort me. No, I'm not, just kidding. No, he's not. But he doesn't want to give me back my name because he wants to, you know, me and Sean, we speak every now and then, but besides that, so everybody served their purpose. Look at me. Remember, look at the earlier episodes. I was like 30 pounds heavier. If the things didn't happen in my life to make this happen, I wouldn't be as slim as I am now. I wouldn't have a new life now. I wouldn't look at Nelson. He's with you now. He's with you. This is where he belongs. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing his thing. He has his own thing. Sean, he's doing his own thing, you know? So everybody, Sour Patch, she's in California. Silo is still doing his own thing. You know, everybody, even Big Sean is still connecting with Hack, Finger Cramp, because everybody intertwined and met each other. And everything happened for a reason. So me starting Raw Gameplay was just probably to connect a lot of people, because within that small period of time that we started doing it, I could have so many people send me emails saying that I and Raw Gameplay helped them start things. Even the dudes who came up to me and said, yo, fuck you, Michael Hurdle, I hate your ass. Every time I see your show, I was like, yo, fuck this nigga, but yo, I gotta give you props, and gave me handshakes. That's what niggas told me in my face. Niggas should say, yo, yeah, I'm playing online. Oh, yeah, that's Michael Hurdle. Fuck him up. Because niggas hate me, and I love that shit. Because I talk shit and I don't give a fuck, and I could throw the hands up if I needed to. If I saw you in the street, you know what I'm saying?
True.
Let me take a beverage drink.
Now,
Go ahead, you can ask the question.
Mike, I have to honor, that was an admirable response, because I didn't think that, you viewed it that way, because some people, we're older, you know what I mean? We see things, we're not in our 20s anymore. We're looking at things like, okay, you said you wouldn't change anything because had the turn of events not occurred, people wouldn't be where they are right now. Raw 100%. Gameplay is very, you guys are a very important part of the piece. And I even say that, due to your existence with Raw Gameplay, nMo has survived over, the years, you know what I mean? And me and Anomaly, when things are a little different, because, just like Corey, Anomaly was going through his stuff too. That's why you haven't seen him on for almost 2 years now. You know what I mean? He's still part of the company behind the scenes, but it's just like, you guys made Anomaly get on me. He's just like, Alex, we gotta stay ahead of Raw Gameplay. You know what I mean? You guys really, did good. And when we did the crossover, the stream fight and everything, we had people buzzing. I mean, that was some good stuff. And
that was fun.
Like with Nelson, I mean, hell, Nelson now has become an online personality. Hell, he and I got in trouble for streaming Resident Evil 6 early. You know what I mean? That means he drew attention. Yeah, drew attention because he was involved with you guys. So I know Nelson is always grateful for what you've done for him and everything. And with Fighting Game League taking off the way that it has, if anything, if Raw Gameplay ever came back, I got your back. I know Nelson got your back. But, it can't stay dead, you know what I mean? And it's only dead if we just forget about it, but people remember Raw Gameplay. And that was, the most important thing for, like, the East Coast in terms of, like, the fighters, because, we're all big into fighters, right? So if that's just my dream, like King, one day we're all going to come together and do something at that level. But Nelson, do you have anything to add to what Mike's response? Like, would you have changed anything if you could go back in time with Raw Gameplay?
Well, in the sense that I do agree with Mike, everything happens for a reason, and if it wasn't for certain people playing their role and their part, things wouldn't have happened. But if I had to say, if I can take out people and to see if it would have made a difference after we had everyone in the equation, yeah, I would have definitely had removed several people, because one, they should already know who they are. They really didn't play no more part within the company after everyone dropped in. I'm just letting it be known right now. We already have Sean Griffith, of course. He already knows my personal beef with him from the previous video. I will add on to that later on in the Q&A. Also, not really to bash, but like, I guess you could say RoseMaiden in a sense, not because of the fact that she wasn't good of a member. She was more of like a behind the scenes person to me. She wasn't really a camera on face type of person. She was like a grinder, just like me. She was very into it. She was very knowledgeable with HTML. She knew a lot of coding, and she was very resourceful. She even helped Raw Gameplay get a form. So she really did a lot. But on camera, not so much. And of course, let's see, who else would I would have not had? Well, she doesn't count. She only been on the show once. Sour Patch, she did her part, but she had her personal reasons of leaving. That's for another time. And yeah, that's really mainly it. Everything else just would have stayed the way how it was. But just those two people in general, that's just my personal opinion. Well, of course, other people might think differently. But if it wasn't for Mike and Corey, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be brought with this vast knowledge of 3 years now of information that both Michael and Corey has like fed to me like a crammed computer. They just kept stuffing fucking files one after another, making this ridiculous person. And I learned about HTML, I learned about video recording, I learned about Wirecast, I learned about streaming, I learned how to be properly brought up into the camera and be a recognized face within the gaming world and the online scene. Without Michael, without you, without Corey, without anyone that was a part of it, I wouldn't be going or even trying to make my own company the way how it is now. So everyone played their role in a certain way.
And you know that was the impact that RawGamePlay had. I mean, got things off and popping. But here's my next question to you guys. Mike, you get to turn first, and then Nelson. If RawGamePlay still existed as it did in its peak, what would a successful RawGamePlay be doing right now? Mike?
Sorry, I just turned my audio back up. I turned it back right now. That's a good question. I've already the plans that I had for RawGamePlay. Just the proposal that I built in my mind. RawGamePlay. We first of all, Sean and I, we were speaking about going to get a grant, and we had to write a proposal. There was a company that would do everything for us. They were charging us like $1,500 to $2,000 to do it, but they'll submit it to tons of grants, and people who are interested in those kind of things will fund money into us, and that was our original goal. I tell anybody that if you want your company to strive, learn how to write a grant, or go get someone who knows how to do it so you can submit it to a lot of people, because by yourself you're not going to do this unless you're a millionaire. You're going to need money to build. So my goal was to one day open up a storefront. Almost like the few that we have now. Some of them contain jerks in them. Like one of them, I think, 8-bit. I like everybody in there. Well, I like my man Chris. He's cool. When you go in there, sometimes you feel unwelcome. I don't want that kind of setting. But a storefront like that, like where, or almost like our next level in Brooklyn, just something big, an open space, games. You can come in there, you can chill, have a little lounge area. Televisions everywhere. You can watch matches or host tournaments there. If your arcade stick or your Xbox or something is broken, your CD scratch, you come in there. We have a resurfacer. Just the internet. We'll give you your internet for free. We'll have tournaments every week. We'll keep the scene going. If it's big enough, we would have put a few cabinets in there, couple imported from Japan. All the kind of stuff, the bells and whistles. That's what the goal of RawGamePlay was going to be. And then we would have had a separate room in the back where we just do all our recording. We leave the camera set up, and we never have to take and dismantle and stuff. We can just come in and film right away. And then the mainstream, once, people started liking us, following us, we have all our followers, that's what you need. You need the fans. The fans and the people who watch the show, they're the ones who actually who make your show. I mean, if you can't make your own show and people have to like you and you have to respect your audience, thank them all the time and let them follow you and then let it grow. And once your company grew, and let's say we'd have done it in New York City, who knows? We could have probably made a lot of money and then show the mainstream gaming world like IGN and all these big gaming worlds where corporate people run the gaming world, not real gamers like us. Real gamers like us are here in the I don't want to say underground. I like to say independent world of the gaming. This is where this video game world is like a soap opera. I'm talking about there's so much twists and turns. It's ridiculous. It's its own world. And we know all the gamers because we're in it since we were little. Atari days, the Super Nintendo, the little handheld cabinet games with Donkey Kong on it, and the Popeye game. All those little things we used to play, where you used to have to take the two little hooks and plug it into the back of your tube TV to play some Atari. Those things. So yeah, we have all these things that we follow, and we see these things grow from cartridge base, blowing your joint, shaking it, plugging it in, put it to the side, close your lid, and hope for the best, and hope that when you get close to the end, the cartridge don't mess up, and then you have to start all over again because there's no save points. Only gamers know those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When you're bringing me back, Mike. Oh my goodness.
For real.
You're bringing me back.
The Super Nintendo. So I used to leave my Nintendo on and go to school and come back and leave it on and hope my mother didn't turn it off because I couldn't have a save point. And I was almost close to ending Section Z. You know what I mean? But,
oh my God, yeah.
I pictured Raw Gameplay turning into some huge company that the gamers control, not corporate. Because the gamers would be the ones to make the decisions. We would always go to the gamers. We wouldn't ask corporate because the gamers will be funneling money into the company through us, through themselves, and it'll keep circulating because people will play in tournaments, people will win, teams will win, more teams will be formed, and before you know it, we'll probably have our whole entire underground or independent world become so big that mainstream had no other choice but to recognize us. And you know how I knew this was going to that place? Because when, of course, I hate to mention it, Mr. Triforce was on the line and G4 had our footage that we were filming him, and it had our logo on the bottom of the screen while that really pretty host was talking about it, making fun of Triforce, right? But the fact remains is that something that we filmed ended up on national video game television, allegedly, according to the mainstream community, and it was on television. It made us feel proud that if we had kept going, it would keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and before you know it, the gaming world would be the way it was when we were younger. Instead of just Xbox Live and then you're restricted, you can only have 100 friends. People will start coming together and talking to each other, you know? So that was my vision of Raw Gameplay.
Outstanding. And you know what? You see, when you're explaining that to me, you know, then Nelson might laugh, but you remember how Big Boss was trying to create the outer heaven or whatever? That would be like the outer heaven of like gaming. You know what I mean?
That's a good
like
analogy.
You know, that's like real talk. Like, you know, that's like the fighting game heaven or outer heaven or for you by you initiative. You know what I mean? That's you know, something that I can definitely get behind. You know what I mean? And you know, I would love to see the monotony broken up where, you know, you had Xbox Live. And Anomaly and I had said that on one of our early shows in year one. We were just like, once Xbox Live comes into effect or online gaming comes into effect, arcades are done. And not even 24 months after that, you start seeing arcades go away. You know, we lost Willowbrook Mall arcade. We had one in Elizabeth. Union County College in New Jersey had a bunch of arcade machines.
That's right.
All of that just went away. You know what I mean? And, you know, if the Raw Gameplay dream, the initiative, or what I call it, like Outer Heaven, you know, ever came to manifest itself in reality, I would definitely do whatever I could to make sure that I can contribute to that cause. But Nelson, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, basically the same way as Mike has put it, I would have just kept working as hard as I could to make the goal become reality, because like you need all the help you can get, whether if you like it or not, because not in the sense of like kissing anyone's ass or doing anything for corporate in a sense, but Raw Gameplay as what it was just a bunch of friends coming together. We wasn't getting paid, we wasn't working for like a profit or whatever. We were just doing it based off our own strength, our own money, our own 9-to-5 jobs. And if we would have kept going, I know we would have definitely became something.
He's trying to feed you, Nelson.
He's trying to feed me. Hey. Hey.
Oh, you saw that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought you were switching back and forth.
No, but
my fault. I didn't mean to do that.
But what you call
That's
it?
okay.
My fault.
Hey, it's live, people.
Oh.
I thought you were switching back and forth, so I thought he was full screen. I thought I was just goofing off when he was talking.
Nah.
Oh man! It's like, oops, hey, this is the real Michael Hurdle, people.
But I guess you could put it. I guess you could put it as like to be somewhere what WWE is at, a multi-billion-dollar company. That's exactly how I envisioned it. And if we would have kept going on our own strength, I know we would have got more people, not for the money, but we would have got a lot more fans there for the passion and to help us grow and to become something more and help each other out and definitely bring things back to my honest opinion, rightfully where it was, because at one point in life, I would say about almost 13 years ago, the East Coast was video game central. At one point, because you had New York, you had PA, you had Jersey, all central location. just as of recently, California became the mainstream of gaming, period. Period. Because now everything is going Hollywood, everything is going high tech, HD, and all this other stuff. And California has the resources, while we in New York and PA and Jersey, we sitting here struggling and trying to be cutthroat to each other. So it's really hard over on our
That's
side of
true.
the land to do something like that. Where in California they could sit there, have a cup of coffee, and just make it happen. You know,
For
it's
real.
just that simple. But
And that's why it takes minds like us to kind of get together and make it happen. You know what I mean? Because we can't just sit by and just allow it to just, degrade and go away. The right minds getting together at the right time will turn things around. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you that. But moving on to the next question, and it's a loaded question because I don't want to, because I was talking to Rod Lane during the time that the NMO and RawGamePlay, in the infancy of the feud for the Street Fighter stream. At first, I thought that it was like a serious thing. I'm like, oh man, it was just a joke. You know what I mean? But I was very sensitive to how everything was being handled initially because I thought that it was going to be negative PR. I made the joke, I saw a response, and then I was like, okay, you know what? I want to, pull back from it. I'm very delicate with going into things, and the next question has to do with Empire Arcadia, and I'm not trying to get NMO on Empire's Arcadia's radar. So just like I tell Nelson, we always joke, those views of RawGamePlay, or formerly RawGamePlay, don't reflect the views of NMO and its staff. So I just want to put that out there. I just want y'all to go on full throttle, unfiltered, just lay it all on the table. I'm just an interviewer, okay? But I just want to know, and the reason why I asked this question is because of what I saw in your guys' video. Do you feel that Empire Arcadia in some way had its hand in the downward spiral of RawGamePlay? I'm asking Nelson this question first, and then I'm going to give it to Mike, and then we'll go from there. But Nelson, what do you think about that question I just posed?
well, I can honestly say that Empire Arcadia did had some degree of being the ball dropper for RGP. I basically started to realize this when we was I guess you could say working more carefully among each other, along with Sean Griffith, Big Sean, myself, Mike, Corey, Sour Patch, and before RoseMaiden got there actually. And I know this because I do a lot of research. And for anyone that knows me, I like to be very, very short and confident of my sources and information. And to be on like a personal issue, Sean Griffith, don't act like we're stupid. I do know exactly what was going on since the time I got there. So you doing this shit behind our backs was not cool. So I'm just putting that out there. He had this thing where he wanted to associate with someone because Sean Griffith thought that the Empire Arcadia was a good investment because at that time of 2008 to 2010, they was being very successful. They had IFC Yipes, they had Sanford Kelly, they had Justin Wong, they had Blood Red, they had Dragon God. They had all these top players in New York, and it was going crazy. So Sean Griffith thought that it would be a great investment to put money towards in them, help them get to tournaments, make their life easier, and to get, reflected in views and, probably a sponsorship thrown our way. Ever since that collaboration happened, shit collapsed. Reason being, Sean Griffith invested way too much time and money of our company's money to them. We basically had no way of getting reviews done. We couldn't get the games. We couldn't get to certain locations on time. Michael had to dig into his pocket with the truck that he still had when it was still on its last wheels to drive us to these places. Even though we was said that we're gonna have 3 cars, we're gonna have a company car with the logo on it, we're gonna go everywhere, we're gonna do this, and that, we're gonna be real good. And then, like I said, it just kept going and going. And then after Sean Griffith and Michael Hurdle had like an actual conversation with each other that none of us could have like been around. It was spoken of, you need to stop investing so much time into them. I don't mind, but you need to focus on what you originally was here for. And that's what Sean Griffith was told. He was like, okay, okay, Mike, no problem. And then, as like I said, as he kept going and going, he kept doing it behind our backs and kept fucking around with Empire. And of course, we already know Triforce is a grabber of opportunity. If he sees something that he can take, he will take it. That's just how he is. That's his mentality since he started. And that's exactly what he wanted. He eventually, in his vision, needed a media outlet. At the time, he didn't have one. He saw RawGamePlay becoming a up-and-coming, rising independent company, and he wanted that all to himself. Like, you know, Rod Lane. But yeah, that's what was the whole main issue of that happening, and that's the reason why, as of course Michael will agree, Triforce was one of the few people that was the letdown of the company.
So, Mike, give me your response to what Nelson, expressed. Because, Nelson, I respect that, like, because I was thinking you were going to go in on the guy, but you just stated the facts. And, Mike, what are your thoughts?
First thing, can you hear me, first of all?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, while Nelson was talking, did you hear me in the background? No, right?
No, we didn't hear any noise, no.
Okay, good. I try. I'll just make sure. All right, so first of all, I like to say this on the record because on this show, definitely you have your audience and you're going to have a lot more audience from different locations. And, of course, this is going to definitely get back to Triforce. I already know it. Triforce is a mastermind. He's a genius. I'll tell you why he's a genius before I move on to anything else. It's because he is the greatest manipulator that I know so far. You know why I know this? Because it takes a manipulator to know a manipulator. That's why I already knew what Triforce was doing from the beginning, but Sean Griffith didn't seem to realize it. And I was like, this guy, this is not the first time, because his name is slandered all over the internet. So, of course, a smart businessman like myself would go do research on this person. I come to find out, I told Sean, I said, Sean Griffith, I said, I don't know this person. This man legally changed his name to Triforce. Like, he legally. He said it to us.
I did not know that.
He's proud of that. He's proud of that. On his documentation, allegedly, it says Triforce in his last name. So this guy is serious about what he's doing. Props to you, Triforce, because you are a great manipulator. And I'll tell you why, because I see what you do. I see the things that you do. I don't want to put you too much on blast because I can go in and I don't give a fuck. But you know what? I'm going to be humble. You know, I see the things you do in your personal life with the when it was Empire. I seen the way you were like a slave master. You had people sign contracts, and because you know how to hold them. You know that some people were down on their luck, and you were an opportunist, like my friend Nelson says. I'm telling you this directly if you can hear me. It's not like I hate your guts and I'm going to punch you in the face when I see you in the street. I'll say hello to you in the street. Even if you, Sean Griffith, I'll say, hey, what's up? What's going on? You know what I mean? But my point is what you do in the gaming world. You're known as a scumbag. When I put that video up, I got emails from people's name I won't mention, and they gave me lists of things that you've done. They've sent me links to videos. It's like, when I spoke about it, and you know Triforce, and you know why I know this is not going to bother Triforce? Because he's an opportunist. Good publicity, bad publicity. Publicity is publicity. Mr. Triforce, I know you well. You're going to make it. You're going to. I always said, rich people never become millionaires without stepping on somebody's faces on the way up. So Triforce, to get to your gold, you are doing the perfect thing. So thumbs up to you. Step on everybody. Sean Griffith allowed himself to be manipulated by you. I've known Sean Griffith for many, many moons, and I've told him we are not stable enough to support another responsibility. And he still said he'll take care of it. Sean Griffith, I hope that you learned that you cannot bite off more than you can chew. And that's what happens. In anything, anybody who's listening to this who wants to start their own company or who wants to see what happened to a company, When you do it with friends, it can get sour, real talk. When you do it with strangers, they can dish you and leave and go to somebody else's team, which happened to me. I'm not holding any grudges. When you don't make people sign contracts, Mr. Triforce, which I give you props for, people can up and leave you for all your hard work. Look at what Justin Wong did to you. But I got to tell you why Justin Wong did it. He ain't going to tell you. But I've been interviewed you guys for many moons. And Justin Wong has a lot of talent, and you were kind of restricting him from doing things because you had your visions. You never really cared about his visions too much. His visions were there, but your visions were the most important because you are the great Triforce with the glove. I come to conquer the gaming world, and I will do it at any cost. That's how I see you when I look at you sometimes. And I can see auras, and I see like the aura emanating off your body, and I'm like, this guy is the devil himself. But you are in sheep's clothing. You're in sheep's clothing. And this is how I feel about you. And I'm not afraid to put this out there on this wonderful show. Thank you for having me, first of all. But my point is that when you manipulate somebody, which is Triforce doing to Sean Griffith now he's ignoring us. And we grouped together. I'm putting it out there. We all grouped together and sat down. We said, Sean, what's up? We had a meeting. Sean didn't want to hear nothing. Oh, I'll take care of it later. He's a brusher awayer. You brush things away. Just say, hey, damn, all of you guys are in the room. You guys are telling me the same thing. Wow. Probably I'm not right here. Why didn't you just say that? You know what? Let me listen to you guys and actually do something about it if I care about this company. No. You didn't do that. You just brushed it away. I'm out of here. You leave in. I don't care. We can find new people. Where's the new people you found now, Sean Griffith? I'm sure you probably helped them a little bit by giving them the publicity that we built. You gave these new people some publicity. We had over 5,000, 6,000 subscribers, and now we probably have you have under 5,000 subscribers, and everybody's dissing the channel. You gave them their boost, and they left you. We, Nelson, all of us, even Miguel, Sean Hill, even Big Sean, Silo, Sour Patch, RoseMaiden, everybody played a big role. And if we had just stuck together and, the things behind the scenes didn't happen, we would have probably been really far. I know I'm rambling. Should I give this back to somebody or should I keep going?
No, I mean, you got the floor. You got the floor.
Oh, okay, great. So then Triforce now, how I say he did it, is that every time his players, Andre and whoever was a part of the Empire, didn't have any money to participate, I saw the looks on these guys' faces. They never told me anything negative about Triforce. I don't know what whole or magical spell he had on them, but they never said nothing horrible. Dominion, Andre, nobody never said nothing bad about him in my face. Yipes you saw the video, I interviewed him. Yipes said until the wheels fall off, he ain't going nowhere. I have it on film. Look at the RawGamePlay channel. When I interviewed him for the for whatever that film was, I forgot the name of it. King of Chinatown, I think. King of Chinatown, right?
Mm-hmm.
I interviewed him. Yipes said until the wheels fall off. Evil Rasan was standing there too. You know what I'm saying? These dudes are dedicated to you, Triforce. And to see that all these people bounced on you and they still show you love. When I see them, they don't never talk about you bad. They be like, yeah, no, but you don't see where these people can grow and just let them grow. And don't be afraid. You want to keep the fucking titty in their mouth. Let them go walk and fall a little bit. They'll come back to you if they love you. For real. You know what I'm saying?
And
I know
Mike, to interject on what you just said, I think that's what the fear was. They were going to grow and become bigger than a bigger name independently outside of Empire Arcadia, and he might have felt that he might have lost his grip. This might not be fact, but this is just something that I'm observing.
I guess allegedly you could say for disclaimer.
Mm-hmm. It's if somebody has something good in-house in their camp, they're gonna be like, hey, how am I gonna profit off of this? Let me kind of shield this so that nobody else can make something off of it. And Shinwar and I, we were always discussing that. We were like, wow, Wong is, whether people say it or not, he's from East Coast. You know what I mean? Now he's repping West Coast hardcore, hard body. His roots are here. You know what I mean?
That's
and
true.
I believe that, how Triforce, we know his real name, but I'm not going to put it out there. But
Isaiah?
I believe the way that he handled it made Justin Wong lose his taste for the East Coast altogether. He's like, F this, I'm never coming back. More opportunity with Evil Geniuses and whomever else he's with at this point. You know what I mean? That was poorly handled, and you just pushed people away. And who does he really have right now? Sanford is pretty much like the last one with them that's of any value. And even with Last Evo, he didn't really participate too much, I
love Sanford, Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, we saw. Remember when we all hooked up at Comic-Con and we saw him over there and everything? That was some fun stuff. But Sanford be going in on people, and he made a good point. Like, they were saying, hey, Chris G is winning all these tournaments, and, now he's going to King of the Couch tournaments. He's like, do what you have to do to beat the guy. I respect that.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And, if you have to counterpick and you got to do something I've been accused by somebody, let me stop. But it's just, you do what you got to do to win. I respect that. If he learned that in the arc, that's something that these guys who left went and took. So Empire actually did produce some great talent. It can't be all bad. It can't be all bad, but it's just certain business practices can be cancerous to the fighting game community, just to gaming in general, because from what I heard that, it wasn't Nelson that made the news. He got it from someone else that I heard that Triforce was partaking in. I won't say what it is. Nelson, you know what I'm talking about. I was just like, wow, really? By a DDR machine or some crazy shit. I'm like, okay, it's more or less, if you are a producer or a CEO of any company, there's a way you should conduct yourself to focus on nurturing your talent, pushing your staff. Like, for instance, like Demizzle with the NMO staff, he has his own channel where we talk about the WWE and all that other stuff, and Nelson's been on those podcasts. Who am I to say, hey, you know what, you can't go on and do other things? You know what I mean? What kind of CEO or COO would I be, kind of keeping people, under lock and key? That's bad. True. And that's what I think that was happening with Wong. You know what I mean? Like, he felt that he needed to grow, and he outgrew Empire Arcadia. He outgrew, Triforce, and just, you know what I mean? And, like, a good example on the flip side, how you did for Nelson. Well, Nelson, I know, even in the peak of Raw Gameplay, if Nelson wanted to branch off and do something, he would have had your devout support. You know what I mean? And,
without a doubt.
And one hand helps the next. Hey, you know what? Mike hooked me up. I'm going to hook him up. You know what I mean? Create that network. Don't burn your bridges. Don't fuck yourself. And then, you know what I mean? Because when was the last time Justin Wong ever even mentioned Empire Arcadia, the Arc, and his roots being here in the East Coast? Not for a long time. You see what I'm saying? So, just shifting gears. Now, Nelson, I'm going to pose to you this question, and then, Mike, you can follow up. What's stopping RGP from coming back? What's stopping a resurrection from, occurring with something that was just so good? I know Mike is like a bull in the stable ready to come out of the rodeo, but Nelson, you get the floor first with this. If Raw Gameplay could come back, should it? And what would stop it from coming back at this point?
I mean, in my personal opinion, I think it should come back with the respected people that will make it grow and make it what it's supposed to be, the original Raw Gameplay. If I had to say what would be stopping it, probably just the basic factors. Life in general, we all have a life. We all have different responsibilities that we undertake now since the happenings and the downfall of Raw Gameplay. Financial issues where, like I said, we're still feeding off of our 9-to-5 jobs to benefit what we're doing now in our current lives, whether if Mike is still doing Salty Gamers, whether if I'm still doing Fighting Game League and partnering with TSG and NMO as of right now, or anyone else in the previous staff to do the same. It's really all about what we had. We had chemistry, and that's what really brought us close together. And like I said, we really just have to, if we were to come back, we would have to avoid a lot of bullshit that we learned within that course of like 2 years. There was a lot of downfalls. There was a lot of demons we had to try to conquer. A lot of bullshit, like bullshit, and just that's just what I think of it as, like a summarization of everything is basically financing and people's lives. Like right now I'm juggling too much things. Like I'm a manager at my job at the moment. I am juggling fighting game leagues, trying to keep it on its toes, helping you out whenever the possibility is needed, also helping out Mike whatever videos or collaboration he wants to do. Same thing with Sean Hill and so forth. I'm doing a lot, and for me to like take on another task and responsibility, knowing me, I would do it because the company that brought me about to everything, I definitely want to see it resurrected with the proper and the right people, the right members, and the right tools. But I don't think it's gonna happen because of everyone's situation. Everyone kind of spread it apart, to be honest with you, and I only think 3 people off the top of my head, which is myself and Michael included, and Sean Hill, will be the only ones that can actually be around out of the old cast. Corey is, like I said, he's doing his own thing with his personal life. Big Sean is doing his own little personal thing. Sean Griffith, X him out. RoseMaiden, she had a little problem, I guess you can say, with Sean Griffith in the inner circle, so I know she doesn't want anything to do with that. Sour Patch, she's gone. She's in California. We had another girl named Sasha. She only did 1 episode with us, which was the Dead Rising 2 review. I guess she might want to come back, but not as a video person, but more as like a behind-the-scenes writer, because she was really good at writing things. And Miguel, he will always have us back behind the scenes, as he always has been. And Silo, he's doing his own personal thing, so that's a no for him. But it's really hard to get what Raw Gameplay used to be at its core and at its peak.
Okay. Mike, well, what is your response to that question? Could Raw Gameplay be resurrected? If it could come back, should it? And what would be stopping it?
Should Raw Game... All right, first let's answer the first question. Should Raw Gameplay be resurrected? No, it should not be resurrected, because it's like taking someone, shooting them in the head, then putting a Band-Aid on it, then sending them on their way. It could never be the same after that blow. You know what I'm saying? So, should it be? No. I think it should just quietly disappear. Right? That's my opinion for that question. So, should it come back? No. And what was the second question to that?
Now, like, what would be stopping it from coming back? Like Nelson gave his reasons why it obstacles that would keep it from coming back. But I pose that question to you.
Yeah, what will stop it from coming back is very poor management. It's non-understanding. It's lack of connection with your audience and your fan base. Because without your fans, remember, you have nothing. So, what will be stopping it will be if the acts continue to still be the same way. Like, for instance, Sean not really paying attention to his crew, or he just gets the wrong people to do the show. They have no idea. I was listening to some of the old Raw Gameplay stuff, and it was like kind of off. What they did, they didn't do anything creative. You have to have brand new creative content, original material. You can't just take the same, used condom, drop the cum out of it, re-roll it up, and put it back in the pack and hand it to someone. That's what Raw Gameplay was when the new crew came on. It's like a used condom. You can still get the nut out of it, but somebody else's nut been in there before yours.
Oh man!
So
you guys. All right, continue. I had to react to that. I'm like, wow. I mean, that's a good analogy, graphic, but a good analogy nonetheless.
Thank you.
All right, continue.
They should have just came. They should have came back with new material, something new. I give them props for the green screen in the background, the little floaty thing. So their editor was props to them. The editor seemed like he knew what he or she was doing, so props for that. But come with new material. I know they did the email grab bag and stuff like that. That would have catched on if they had kept going and being more consistent with it. Because I, of all people, know that consistency is important. Because I, for damn sure, don't be putting up videos on a regular. I probably have more audience now, but I'm not doing it for corporate. I'm doing it just for fun, you know. And plus, I'm working on a new show. But would it? What would be stopping it would be if the same type of method is trying to be used again. You can Corey and Michael can be copied and mimicked, but they can never be reproduced from the original source. That's just something that God just put together in the universe and just watched it synthesize itself or something. So don't try to do what Corey and Mike did, because you have to come either bigger or better, or just if you do anything underneath there, you're going to be compared to, which if you look at the comments, they were being compared. So come with something completely different. Have a girl take off her shirt. That's my type of thing. Have a little titty showing. Distract the gamer dudes, because the majority of the guy are gamer guys. So you put some nice titties with a pretty girl, they're like, who's Mike and Corey again? Who, you know, like that. Just for a little bit, and then ease in some regular chick. You know, do something new. You know, do something like the Crocodile Hunter. You know, whatever. But besides that, that's what would be stopping it from happening. And if I want to add something to it, which will help it, is Sean Griffith needs to just come to grasp and say, I need to listen to people and just negotiate with them, and don't just shun them away and not follow up what I'm doing. Because in business, you karma spreads everywhere, and if you put that bad karma out, some people don't believe in it, but I'm living proof that it will come back to you, you know. And you're gonna just have nothing but problems after problems. So Sean Griffith, just for anybody listening out there that watched from our fall of Raw Gameplay, and say, I will not be pulling a Raw Gameplay. Like, you know, like how people say, yo, he got MC hammered. You know, somebody broke, right? So, you know, somebody say, yo, don't get Raw Gameplay. You know, then they know to check themselves. So we could have just started this so we can be made an example of what you should not do and what you should do to better. So the fall of Raw Gameplay may just be the rise of like 10 new different independent things that actually make it. So it's kind of weird, you know, when you plant the seed, the stem comes out, then the seed, the stem disappears and dies, and then this grows, and then that grows into something, and then fruit comes out of it, and you know, then the fruit makes more seeds. It's crazy how that thing works. If you do it properly, you don't know which is for what purpose. You know, then we eat it, it makes us healthier. But so everything serves a purpose, and if you keep that continue in motion in the gaming world and in business, a lot of people would flourish instead of fighting each other. I mean,
yes, I agree with that 100%, because it looks like, you know, just like with the fighting game community here in the East Coast, sometimes we try to eat each other, and that's not good. You know what I mean? There was a guy, before I make another point, there was a guy that was running around heckling tournaments that we were going to, and it's like, okay, if you don't know how to run a tournament, shut up. Why don't you help instead of trying to tear us down? And this is why the West Coast will look and laugh at us, because they're more unified. You know what I mean? So if we can do that in business, in the independent shows, we help each other, like Nelson has been helping me the last couple of months. I mean, you can see progress, you know, and instead of tearing each other down, it's not cool. And you were saying something about, you know, don't get Raw Gameplay or don't get MC hammered, or, you know, Anomaly and I, there would be times that, you know, if you saw he and I, when we were doing our low-key thing, when we didn't always have the money to get, like, more equipment, like, we had one fan, he donated a sum of money where we were just like, wow. You know what I mean? And just like Raw Gameplay had an effect on certain audience members, we started getting that. And, you know, that helps. And like you said, like, you're nothing without your fans. You know what I mean? They're the ones that are giving you the viewership. They're the ones that are going to, hey, you got 1,000 subscribers? You know what I mean? Like Nelson was telling me about that extremely strict Twitch TV partnership, but then they recently changed it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you know, and to help Nelson, I'm going to see if we can funnel some of our podcasts and all that other stuff to his Twitch TV channel, kind of merge things a bit so that he can get that partnership. You know what I mean? And it's all about bringing it here. And, you know, it's funny that you said don't get raw game played or hammered. Me and Anomaly used to argue about that stuff. I said, hey, you know, Corey left the show. And, you know, I still want my rematch with him and Seth and how we played at, you know, it's been like 4 or 5 years. I didn't forget that. I want a rematch because my Blanca,
I'm ready.
I want that rematch with Corey. He disappeared. I'm like, you know what I mean? And also, remember we were talking about people, they win and they just disappear. You're like, fuck. You know what I mean? And then you be sitting there like, you know, like a hunchback playing the game like, I'm going to beat him. And then your opponent's gone, you know what I mean? But yeah, just let him know if ever you see him. I never forgot that. He pushed me to be a better Street Fighter 4 player. I give him that.
Actually,
but,
I speak to Corey every single day almost.
Yeah, I didn't forget that.
So
He had me like a beast. Like, you see my fight with Nelson, that was like pretty much the best fight at that stream that night.
Right. That was
a lot of that had it not been for Corey making me learn frame data and things like that, because I'm like, my goal was to beat him and beat that set. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It wouldn't have made me the Street Fighter player that I am now. You know, and I have to tell him thank you for making me the fighter that I am today. You know?
No doubt.
But in terms of like, you know, Anomaly and I were always scared about, you know, things going bad. And I kept telling him, you know, hey, you know, Jamal, you gotta make sure you're doing your part. I'll do my part. You know what I mean? And I used to put a lot of pressure on him to say, hey, you know, I need you to learn how to edit. I need you to do this and that. And he had the best of intentions. He was a financial backer. He'll buy the equipment and do that stuff. And, you know, I didn't want the core of what NMO was like, because, like, I would say, I don't even compare. Our brands were different because we were more into like the homebrew, the Mugen, and making our own fighting games and that kind of stuff. And it's just like when Anomaly had to take care of life situations, as you know, Nelson.
Yeah.
Taking care of life situations, it kind of became a distraction, and you know, we were kind of concerned that, hey, they just kept seeing me on the show, and I was trying to hold it on my shoulders. I'm like, man, I can't do it alone. I needed the help. You know, and years later, here comes Nelson. And, you know, you never know. And like you were saying, like in a response, like with Corey not being part of the brand anymore, you know, even though it's not the same, you can always get something different. And Nelson is what's different for me in what my broadcast has mutated into. Because it's not just my broadcast, it's part his too. Because Nelson contributed so much, it made things better, different, and better, you know. But that pretty much exhausts all my questions that I had prepared for this evening, because this NMO fans, Fighting Game League fans, and Salty Gamers audience, this is something that I have been planning for months. And Nelson can tell you, like, I wanted to really, you know, get into the thick of it, ask these guys that, okay, what really happened, you know, because the other video was cool, but I wanted to do it, and I wouldn't say, I'm not saying it any better, but more in an organized way so that people can go through the video and actually say, hey, you know what, damn, these guys made some good points. And,
no doubt.
You know, and this way, you know, it makes everybody look good, even if some people are going to take it offensively. I hope Sean Griffin doesn't take it offensively, because I know at the core, he's a good guy. The NMO and Raw Gameplay were supposed to hook up and do the breast cancer walk when he came down to the Brunswick zone, and we're discussing that. But I know we all got pulled in different directions, and that didn't happen. But those are things that our audience members don't know. You know what I mean? So at the heart of it, you know, there's a lot of good intentions there. And, you know, I just hope that now that the truth is completely out there, you know, just whatever endeavors that we all embark on, like we support each other, support Salty Gamers, support Fighting Game League, TSG, and NMO. You know what I mean? Because without you guys, the success that Raw Gameplay had, now that they're not there, like Mike said, now you can spread that energy all over the place. They set a standard that a lot of us now are trying to strive to achieve. And the goal is to exceed it, you know? Because I would say after we did the Street Fighter tournament or the little battle stream, we went somewhere in New York, and I had my custom NMO jacket with the fiery font because I study graphic design and I'm an artist. And I put that on there, and we were somewhere at the Best Buy Theater for Halo or whatever. They're like, yo, that's NMO. I'm like, oh, shoot. He's like, and they were cheering for Raw Gameplay. They're like, yo, Mike's going to fuck you up. I'm like, whoa. You know, nobody's going to play somebody, nothing like that. But, you know, I mean, that helped both companies, you know what I mean? And that's just the goal. That's the beauty of it. You network with each other. You never know what the possibilities are. So, Nelson, in closing, do you have any closing comments? And then, Mike, since you're the esteemed guest, you'll get the final say. But, Nelson, you got the floor.
Any final words? Just like as I was telling Mike, he wanted me to get a bit personal on a couple of people. So, I guess I'll mention that within the next 3 minutes. I would like to bring forth the 3 people that was a part of the new Raw Gameplay crew. I'm going to say it once, and I'm going to say it just last time. Never in your life try to mimic or reenact what Raw Gameplay used to be and act like you're the shit. Because I can tell you right now, your editing sucks horrible ass. The only thing you guys talked about was nothing but games. You spoke about dolls and fucking little toys and little shitty stores that was in Jersey that was like non-existent and they had no purpose in what you guys call it, the Raw podcast or whatever the fuck that shit was. Then of course my attention brings me forth to Sean Griffith. As I said in the previous video, I have no personal beef with you as of like hanging out, friend, whatever, being chill. But as a working man, as a gamer, as someone that tried to own a company, you are horrible. You are like the epitome of shit when it comes to that. You should never, ever in your life try that again. Just let Michael do what he's done and let him guide you to what the standard of being a boss. Even though he's a friend, he still was a better boss than what you would ever do. I have no real personal beef with Big Sean because he's cool with me and whatnot, so he's left out of the equation. He gets to the slide. Let's see. With Rod Lane, I have to bring this to his attention because I just recently got told that he did a recent tournament on September 22nd, which we allegedly, me, myself, and the NMO crew, and Alex, we supposed to go. We didn't go, money, or we just didn't have the time, and stuff was like complicated then. I heard that you try to hire a stream, to do your little event and to broadcast it and try to make it popular and try to organize fighters, sports, Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever the hell you guys had, and all this other stuff. And then it comes to show that I find out that your streaming was one at lack of quality. You guys are on the verge of getting sued by 11 companies, and you streamed and turned off every single match. That's not how you stream, guys. Like, come on. And even if Rod Lane was to try to undertake me, you would have to pay me a hell of a lot of money to deal with your shit and for you to try to be the Hitler of gaming. That's not happening, bro. So that has to get that cut. And with the certain few people a part of the fighting game community, you guys already know who you are. Those 5 individuals, which I will not mention their names because if I do see them in the street and you guys got personal beef with me, I'll throw down whatever. We'll turn into a real fighting game. You guys need to learn when reality and gaming comes into effect. I know you guys like to be all hyped up and try to have this persona like it's fantasy. But when you guys put down the arcade stick, the controller, you step out of next level or whatever gaming place you're at, you're just like every one of us. You're human, you're a person. Like I said in the previous podcast or video, I will not be afraid or hesitate to downsize the living shit out of every single one of you. I don't care who the fuck you are, if you be Daigo or you be the Justin Wong or so forth. You're just as human as me. and I'm pretty sure everyone else who watches this video will agree with me. Stop acting all conceited and all cocky and acting like you're the shit. Because I will make the effort to just beat the living fuck out of you. Just for acting ignorant and stupid on camera and being like you're better than everyone else. And let's see, do I have any other words?
Nelson, I got a question for you.
What up?
Nelson, I got a question for you. A very important question.
Okay.
You mad, bro?
Yeah. Yeah. I am very, very mad.
All right, Mike. What are your final comments before we log off of this broadcast?
Wow, Nelson. Damn. I turned my mic off so you couldn't hear me. You couldn't hear me laugh or say, but damn, Nelson, damn. What? You know what? Sometimes people got to release and what they call vent.
Yeah.
You didn't vent. You just air jetted. You went and roasted everything behind you.
It's because of Next Level.
Jeez, he called. Yo, I know people are going to quote this, the Hitler of video games. Wow.
I grimaced for a second. I was like, okay, well.
Oh, shit, my butt hurts.
You know what? I'm going to leave that for another podcast. But, yeah, so what are your final thoughts, Mike?
My final words are like this. I want to say this to all the video gamers because this is on YouTube. It can be everywhere. People all over the world see it. One, for all the gamers, we are the gamers. We are the ones that control the video game world, not the corporate people. Without our dollars and all this hiking of prices and Xbox Live going up, and still we're not getting a lot. We got Internet Explorer. Thank you for the porn. Thank you. Right?
It doesn't work, by the way.
No, it works. I tried it yesterday. You need to try it again because it will give you an update. It's using HTML5. You better recognize, because I saw it. I saw Granny's screenshot. Yo, go straight to it after this broadcast. You'll see it. Give you a small update.
Yeah,
Like, what's the update for?
Hey, I don't care. Don't judge me, NMO fans.
Porn or free. But anyway, what I'm saying.
Well, I'm getting that update.
What I'm saying is that to all the video gamers, we are the game. we are the ones that control the gaming world, and we once we unite together, nothing can stop us when it comes to the games. When it comes to what we want, because the people who design the games, they design it for us. So our input is important. So always remember that. Now this is that was for the world. For our side of the land, which is the East Coast, we all know this. We admit it. We got destroyed by West Coast. I'll tell you one of the reasons why I personally think this happened is because hearing Nelson, everybody on the East Coast is for Dolo. If you don't know what that means in Ebonics, that means it's for yourself only and no one else. Anyway, so everybody's for Dolo. Nobody wants to connect. And if somebody sees somebody doing something, they quickly hate on it. I think, allegedly, in California, on that side of the land, when people do stuff, they all connect and be like, yo, let's do this and let's keep the arcades going. Let's build this and let's all come together while we're sitting here like Resident Evil in the streets fighting each other for a piece of human. You know what I mean? And it's not going to work that way. And I think we are going to be the failing side of the east of the land if we continue this behavior. And Nelson said it clearly. He called Rod Lane the Hitler of video game. You know what Hitler did? He slaughtered people. So to be called a Hitler of video game, you slaughter video gamers. Allegedly, as Nelson said. I didn't say that. But the thing is, everybody needs to collectively come together on the East Coast and form a great group, rebuild the cancer of the East Coast by all coming together and just trying to build something together instead of going to next level or 8-bit and getting treated like you're not welcome. I don't even go to next level no more because when I go in there, they treat me kind of nice, but then they kind of say like, what do you want? Like be more friendly and, talk to each other better and not hate on each other because it's going to end up being a disaster over here. And then guess what? You're going to have a bunch of us switching over to the West Coast. And then we're going to have nothing here but Florida.
Damn.
my joke of that day.
All right. All right. So, NMO fans, Fighting Game League fans, and salty gamers who are new to my format with Nelson, I encourage you to support all our channels. And I want to thank Mike for finally being able to connect with you here, because I hope that this opens the door to future collaborations, because as you can see, between Nelson and I, it's been very successful. So the door's open to you, and I want to make that known on the record. And because if we all collectively pull our resources together, put our minds together, we're gonna do something great. All right. So, NMO fans, Fighting Game League fans, salty gamers, thank you for listening, and hopefully no one was offended by the comments made on this evening's podcast.
Oh, they will.
And we will see you next time. Well, hey, if it is what it is, if they want to be butthurt about it, then or feel downsized, like Nelson puts it, it's your prerogative. But I just want to let you know, support all of us. We love you guys. And Mike, it was a pleasure to have you on the show. Nelson, this is home for you. And we'll see you next time on the Animal Mugen Arcade Show. One love, support each other. Let's come together.